The John Terry scandal has brought much attention and controversy to the sport of football in the past year. But the issue of racism, whether it is from officials, the players or the fans, has been present since the early 20th century. It's not that there are no consequences for such actions. Most recently, Liverpool player Luis Suarez was accused of racially abusing Manchester United's Patrice Evra. The FA reacted swiftly and Suarez was given a £40,000 fine and an 8-match ban. Players such as Ashley Cole and John Terry have been the face of many anti-racist campaigns such as Show Racism the Red Card and Kick It Out. These have received much support for the cause. So why in 2012 is this still such a problem? This documentary tries to find the answer. Offside-Prejudice in Football. The issue of racism has been prevalent in football since the early 20th century. Fans as well as officials racially abused the first non-white players in professional football. Some even changed their name to avoid this. Even Pelé, considered one of the greatest football players of all time, was subject to racist abuse. Pelé recently made the extraordinary suggestion that racism does not exist in European football and claimed that the Terry and Suarez allegations were exaggerated.
Do you see
a black man,
a Frenchman,
or a footballer?
By now, it would be reasonable to assume that we've evolved since then and such superficial ignorance has been forgotten. But if anything, it seems to be getting worse. The problem raged through the 1970s, the 80s, the 90s, the noughties, and even in the year 2012, there are still multiple incidents of prejudice in football a year.
Stand up. Speak up.
In October 2011, during a game between Chelsea and QPR, John Terry allegedly used racist language towards Anton Ferdinand. Police questioned him, and in December of that year it was announced that he would face criminal charges. However, his trial has been pushed until July 2012 after the Euros. Regarding the matter, Terry said, "I would never say such a thing, and I'm saddened that people would think so. And I am disappointed with the decision to charge me and hope to be given the chance to clear my name as quickly as possible." Although Chelsea Football Club has remained fully supportive of John Terry through this, the club has been strangely silent on the matter. We tried to secure an interview with the coach at Chelsea FC Academy, but he said his job would be in jeopardy if he took part. However, we got in touch with Kick It Out, who were kind enough to give us an interview.
Yes, my name's Danny Lynch. I'm Head of Communications at the Kick It Out campaign. Kick It Out was formed in 1993 in response to a wholesale problem at the time, which was racism in football, primarily aimed at our black players. That had been going on for some time. We saw it emerge in the 1960s. In the 1970s it became a real issue, and in the 80s it was rampant. So the early 90s proved a tipping point, I think, with football generally. We had Hillsborough, we had hooliganism, stadiums were dwindling, there was English football teams banned out of Europe, so we saw the advent of the Premier League and we also saw the advent of Kick It Out, and our job is to tackle all sorts of discrimination in football, from the overt racism that black players endure to looking at representational issues such as a lack of women in boardrooms, lack of black managers, lack of Asian players, and so on and so forth. The John Terry incident is something that's in the hands of the judicial system now. It's been taken out of the hands of football per se because there was a complaint made from a member of the public, and therefore the CPS have intervened, the police have intervened, and we will find out exactly how that's concluded in the summer. For me, and I think for organisations like Kick It Out, we hope that justice is done.
Hi, Troy Townsend, working at Kick It Out and working also in grassroots football by running my own academy. At my level, you know, obviously it's a discussion point straight away. You know, you'll get your youth players coming in and, "Oh, did you see that yesterday?" and stuff like that. And it really gives you an opportunity to then talk to them about the rights and wrongs of the incidents and whatever incident they may be. And you know, there's been a few other incidents that, again, you know, because it's players that they know, high profile, that they'll come in and they'll discuss. But I'm not saying it's a good thing, but in a way it helps, you know, bring them up and breed them in the right way, because it helps to tell them that, you know, it shows them visually rights and wrongs.
We also went to Stamford Bridge hoping to get some Chelsea fans' opinions, but during shooting we were told we didn't have permission to film there and asked to leave. We were still able to ask some fans on the street what they thought.
The John Terry incident, when he was apparently racist to Anton Ferdinand, was a very serious incident. But like, you gotta hear both sides of the story. Some people say he's racist and some people say he's not. But like, no one really saw like what actually happened. So I believe that the FA should just like pull it under the rug for now, because like nothing good will come for it if they like take it further.
As a Manchester United supporter, in my head I think, yeah, John Terry's guilty. But at the same time, I can't really say anything because there's two sides to every story. So we're just going to have to wait and see the verdict at the end of it.
I think the John Terry incident obviously is a big thing because he's captain of England, he's captain of Chelsea, he's like in the public eye, and I think, I don't know if he said it definitely, but it shouldn't have happened. I'm not really one to comment on that.
If he's found guilty, he should get a hefty fine, definitely, stripped of captaincy. I really don't think he didn't deserve the captaincy after the Wayne Bridge incident. So stripped captaincy from England, and perhaps stripped captaincy from Chelsea as well. And definitely a fine, maybe even a ban.
I've known you for years, John. You're not a racist, are you?
No.
Come on, Nick.
We talk about this matter in investigation.
The decision to prosecute John Terry came the day after Liverpool striker Luis Suarez received an 8-match ban for racially abusing Manchester United defender Patrice Evra.
Talking about the Evra incident, Evra and Suarez incident, not so much maybe the words, even though they do have an impact, and obviously it's a discussion point, but I think that's a discussion point mainly at a higher level of football. I think where it definitely impacts is that non-handshake. And I think that, you know, because it's a big audience, and, you know, youngsters nowadays, despite, you know, my era, they come from London, most of them sport clubs from up north, and they would have been watching that game and seeing the non-handshake, you know, it's a discussion point. I know my lads came in the very next day and were saying, oh, did you see that everyone, you know, so, you know, and in like fair play, that impact, because, you know, they see the professional players doing it and they think that it's okay if there's, you know, any issues around, that they don't have to, you know, they don't have to handshake, and that has a massive impact at, you know, grassroots level and lower league level, because it's where they aspire to. So if they see that the pros are not doing it, then they feel that, you know, any incident that happens in the game, they don't have to as well.
Within 2 months, the FA had concluded the case and Suarez was given a match ban and a fine. Comparing that to Terry's case, which has been drawn out over many months, bringing up the question, does the FA treat foreign players differently?
Do you think the FA in general treats foreign players differently?
I don't. No, I don't. I think the Luis Suarez case was something that was concluded. It took a while because I think it was a very complicated case, and actually, you know, as an organisation, we received correspondence from across the world as to why there was perceived inactivity. And I think when we saw the dossier, which was over 100 pages long, it became apparent, you know, that there was a wealth of information to get through, analyse, you know, and help reach a suitable conclusion. So I think on this particular occasion, no, I don't think there's any differentiation between the treatment of domestic players and foreign players. I think this was a particularly complicated case, given all the elements and factors involved, and I think the fact that a punishment was meted out shows that the investigation was thorough and had to be thorough.
Racism is not the only form of prejudice involved in football right now. In January 2011, Andy Gray and Richard Keys were forced to apologise for sexist comments towards a female linesman during a game.
Somebody better get down there and explain offside to her.
Yeah, I know. Can you believe that? Female linesman. That's exactly what I said. Women don't know the offside rule.
Of course they don't. I can guarantee you there'll be a big one today. Kenny will get potted. This is not the first time, is it? Didn't we have one before?
Yeah.
Wendy Toms.
Wendy Toms or something like that, yeah.
The game's gone mad. to the charming Karen Brady this morning complaining about sexism. Yeah, do me a favour, love.
In the aftermath of the John Terry incident, the FA stripped Terry of the England captaincy and Fabio Capello resigned as England manager. In the end, football was a game made up of many faces and people of all colours and backgrounds. Racism and prejudice in general does not belong in the sport, and it won't disappear until it's pushed out of the rest of the world. There are ways we can all fight the problem.
Well, I think in football we need to be focused about the role we can play as supporters, and I think whatever team you follow, you know, wherever you are in the country, in terms of the work that we do at Kick It Out, engaging with other communities to let them know that the team that you follow, whether it's Barnet or Birmingham City, you know, that there's a place there for anyone irrespective of what background they're from. I think for many, many years football is seen as the preserve of the white working class male. I think, you know, the past decade has seen that that's not actually the case, and we're seeing more Asian faces, black faces, women, children attending football like we haven't done before. And I think if we can open up the game to those communities by word of mouth, by education, by awareness, by doing interviews like this, by going out to schools to talk about the work that football can do and the positive change that it can make, then I think we all have a role to play individually or collectively.
I think racism amongst football is just not needed. I think all type of violence and racism in football is just not needed. At the end of the day, you're there, you're paid to play your football. Just play your football, enjoy your game, win some trophies if you can. It's about having fun at the end of the day.
And maybe one day it will be a thing of the past.